Reality cooking is freedom cooking. Reality cooking is the ability to use spices and love together. Reality cooking is the real world of cooking. You don't have to be tied down to a recipe. You don't have to be tied down to measurements. All you have to be tied down to is taste. That's what reality cooking is all about. I have picked some fresh peppers from the garden today, and we'll see what we're going to do with them. But before I can do anything with the peppers, we've got to go to the pantry and see what will go with my peppers. You know, I say pantry, but this is really my creativity center. I think now, what will go with my peppers? And I look around. Well, let's start out with some salmon. Then we'll take that salmon off the shelf and we'll go up here and we're going to use these black beans. Salmon and black beans, you say? Absolutely, it's going to be wonderful. Got a recipe working now. Oh, we're going to get these diced tomatoes. All right, we're going to use those. And now, what else do I need to sort of finish off that dish here in the pantry? We need some rice. So let's go down here and get some of this rice. Now, let's go back to the operating room and cook. I love going to my pantry and contemplating what we're going to cook. Now, let's see. Peppers, what else do we need? Well, we are having fish. And since we're having fish, a beverage would be nice. A nice white wine. Well, let's see what we have in the refrigerator. Oh, how convenient. Isn't that wonderful? We have a nice Chardonnay. And look, some beautiful asparagus that I happened to put in the refrigerator earlier with no thought that I was going to use them in this meal. Now, let's pour a glass of wine and contemplate how we're going to put all of this together. Got my beans, I have my salmon, I have my tomatoes, I have the rice, the peppers. I need an onion. What else do I need? Oh, yes, I see exactly what I need. Some corn chips that I've started to munch on earlier. Now, for you younger folks out there, that is a clothespin. In the ancient days, ladies used to wash clothes. They would have to hang them on the line with one of these gadgets. Now use them for fasteners. They work very well. If you see any, that would be a good idea. So let's see now. We have just about everything we need to create a gourmet's delight with these very simple ingredients. You know, reality cooking is about to start. Hang on. So let me get a couple of eggs from the refrigerator. I'll tell you what we need to do now. We need to decide what we're going to cook all this stuff in. Two pans. One for the beans, one for the rice. The ones for the rice will need to put some water in. So let's go and put some water in it, because the rice is really going to be the longest cooking ingredient that we have here. It's going to take approximately 10 to 12 minutes. After I get all the other ingredients together, it will take less than that to cook them all. So we're going to put the water, the pan on the stove, and I always use a little salt. Now, I have found the large grain kosher salt to be the best. It just gives it a better flavor. So we're going to stick a little salt in the water. And we're going to get our rice. And while we're here, we'll open the package. And we will simply stick the thing in there. Now, you can press it down. Now, the one thing about reality cooking is you can't be afraid to touch the food. Okay, so we've stuck that in there. We're going to turn it on. And we're going to forget it, because it will cook all by itself. Alrighty. I'm going to open these beans with my trusty old ancient can opener. It works so well. Now, one thing I've noticed about black beans is that they tend to stick in the bottom of the can. So you really have to make sure you get them out of there. And see, there's still some in there. Do you see that? So you reach in and you make sure you get them all out. Very simple. Okay, now we're going to put those in. Now, this particular thing here is one of the most dangerous items that'll ever go into a garbage can. It'll cut you in half. So what I do, and what I recommend you do, is put it in the can. And then you simply squeeze the can. And now it's safe. So when you press down in your garbage can, you won't have to worry about cutting your hand. All right, so there we have the black beans in the pan. We've got the rice cooking. Now, the things with the black beans, the black beans will stick. So you want to put them on a very low temperature. Now, I'm opening the tomatoes. Now, these are diced tomatoes. Now, one of the things we have to do with the tomatoes is we have to drain them. So I happen to have a little drainer down here that I use. So, but we will drain them first into a bowl. Now, the reason I'm draining them into a bowl is I want to use the liquid later. I'm going to show you how to make a delightful, absolutely delightful sauce for this dish we're about to have. Now, I've got a little jar, so we're going to pour that tomato juice right in that. And then we'll just sit the tomatoes aside. So there we go. Last can we have to open is the salmon. Now, a little hint on reality cooking. I want to save that liquid, so I'm going to put the top right back on that. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to pour that in my jar. Just like that. I'm going to squeeze it just a little bit to get it out. Now, I have to put this somewhere. So, let's get us a nice bowl. This bowl belonged to my wife's great aunt. So we'll use that. She'll be very happy. That way I may get into her will. Okay, again, top goes into the can, and you squeeze, and you're safe. All right, we're going to need a spoon, and we're going to break our salmon up just a little bit. We need to decide how all of this is going to go together. Well, I know I've got to break an egg. That's one. Oh, Lord, this is reality cooking, folks. That happens right in your kitchen. You can't be upset by it. That's one thing. That's why you have a glass of wine when you're cooking. All right, so what we're going to do, beat the egg. So pour that right over that salmon. Just sort of let it sit. Now, asparagus, I've found, are one of the hardest things in the world to cook. This is your typical brownie pan. You make brownies in this. Well, what we're going to do today with this pan is we're going to cook asparagus in it. So I've got on my sink. I'm going to put some water in it. Fill it up about halfway. And then we're going to take it over there and we're going to let it get hot. All right. Now, I've seen all these fancy chefs. And, you know, they chop this stuff up, all this. But, you know, I can't do that. So you just have to chop it the best you can. Do the same thing with this pepper. All right, we got our peppers, we got our onions. Need one other thing, the corn chips. So what in the world are you going to do with the corn chip, Wayne? Well, I've decided to make this Spanish salmon. So we're going to take some chips, about that many. Now, look at this. Not a single one of you in TV land have seen one of these gadgets. This is a potato masher. This potato masher belonged to my wife's great-grandmother. Her grandmother died at 104, so I'm not quite sure how old it is, but we cherish it. But, you know, anything that's that old needs to be used. So we're going to come here. We're going to crunch, 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 crunch the corn chips. And you just, ooh. This is going to be so good. I'll tell you, sometimes I amaze me. Yes, I do. This is going to be really good. All right, we're just going to throw that right in there. Empty it off good. Now, we have to do two other things. Right now, I have to saute my peppers and onions. So we're going to go up here and get the same pan that I'm going to cook the salmon in just a second. We're going to cook this in. Now, if this is going to be a Spanish dish. So consequently, I'm going to use a nice virgin olive oil. You know, everybody loves virgins, and the virgin olive oil is the best. So we're going to just put that right in there. I'm going to heat it up, sit it aside, let it get a little hot. We'll put that in there. We'll let that begin to saute. Again, what are we going to use? We'll use some of our salt. You notice I haven't put it up. Now, probably if I had had more time, if I would have used real garlic. But since I don't have the time and we're trying to do this meal in less than 30 minutes, I'm going to use some granulated garlic. Not much, but I have a friend, her name's Suzanne, and she told me, you can never put too much garlic into anything. And you know what? I agree with her. So we'll just sprinkle a little granulated garlic in there, because she is correct on that. So we go, here that's, you may think that's a lot of oil. We're just going to let that cook for a minute too. Now while that's cooking, we're going to go back to our salmon mixture, and we're going to look at it. And it's beginning to look like something, isn't it? So we just spread it up a little bit, mix it up, get those corn chips in it nice and good. Oh, like that? Oh, yes. Oh, can you smell that? I believe you can even smell that out in TV land. God, that is delicious. You know, I like to say you have red fish, you have white fish, and then you have a rosé fish, and that's the salmon. So we're cooking a nice rosé. Now, I want to put a few of these tomatoes that I've saved in here. You hear that stuff? Let's just sprinkle those around. Now, these are nice. Again, they were crushed. Now, the one thing I want to tell you about a tomato. Some of us say tomato, some of us say tomato. I'm from the South, and we say tomato. Never use a tomato cold, because a tomato does not taste. There's a chemical in it, I've been told, that when it is cold, it takes away the sweetness. So always use your tomato at room temperature. Oh, smell that garlic! Absolutely wonderful. Now this is good. And the whole idea here, when you cook this, this is canned salmon. It's already cooked. So you don't want to cook it real long. That's the whole purpose of sauteing your peppers and your onions that you're going to put in there. Now, the tomatoes are already done. Okay, now that looks about right to me. So let's turn that temperature down. Now, this is a tricky move on the reality cooking. Now, I want to save all my oil because I want to use it later to cook in, because it's going to have those wonderful flavors. So I use a nice slotted spoon. Again, this is a wonderful old wooden handled slotted spoon that's probably older than I am, and I just love it. I have several of them. Okay, so you see I'm tilting the pan. This is real reality cooking. You put it in there, and you just keep, you can't rush it. You just have to take your time and get it out a little bit at a time, because a lot of it will try to sneak away from you. Now, the one thing about cooking in the reality is enjoy it. You know, this is not something to get uptight about. This is something to have fun with. Remember, it's an experiment. That's all it is. You know, and most of the time it turns out well. Experiment. That's what reality cooking is all about. All right, now watch here. Okay. You know, I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't know whether this mixture is going to work or not. But we're going to find out in just a second. We're going to hope it does. All right, I got it pretty well mixed together. This is absolutely going to be wonderful. All right, what we got to do here is we got to now make our patties, our salmon patties. Now what I like to do is take my whole slotted spoon, get about that much on it, just filling the spoon up. Then you just have to throw it in your hands. You're going to have to do that. First thing I do is I make a ball. You see that? We've made a ball. All right, now we'll just pat it out a little bit. Make it pretty. Okay. I want to get this oil a little warm. Now remember, that was the same oil that we kept the onions and the peppers in. And that's what I want to cook these in. Now, get it a little warm, and it's important that it's warm. Now, one of the secrets to knowing whether it is hot enough is you take a little, put your right in. See? Did it sizzle? Yeah, that's it. I believe it's hot enough. Now, they tell me that some cooks actually spit in the pan. Does it? But I would never do that. I would rather flick the wine in it. Okay, so now we're going to do it. Are you ready? Here we go. Salmon cake in oil. One down. Okay, last but not least, we got to put those asparagus up. Now, the one thing about asparagus is asparagus can be tough, especially the bottom ends of the asparagus. That's unedible. You see that? So you have to cut the asparagus. Now, what I just use as a rule of thumb is I just do that. Now, the reason I do that is I felt the knife go through it very easily. So, and all of that is just, you can't eat it, so you throw it away. So we're going to put that in the boiling water. Now, while my salmon is cooking, while the asparagus are cooking, I'm going to make us the most simple of sauces. All right, what did we do? Can we pan over to the little jar with the tomato juice and the salmon juice? That's the basis of our sauce. Now let's go back. We go to the magic ingredient in the refrigerator, which is mayonnaise. We'll take a little mayonnaise out. We're going to put that over there. Now, probably the best spice in the world that goes with a tomato and a salmon is a spice by the name of basil. Basil is a wonderful spice. I'm growing about 20 fresh plants out in my garden right now, and I'm sorry for this show I don't have fresh basil, but we're going to use a little dried basil. We're going to put it right in this jar. Just about that much. Okay. Now, the other ingredient that we've got to put in this sauce, besides the mayonnaise, is a little black pepper. Now, I'm going to use cracked pepper. Now, instead of the finely ground pepper. Put a little of that in there. That'll dress it up nicely. Okay, so we got our pepper, we got our basil, we got it. Now, we're going to take some mayonnaise. We'll stick it right in this jar. You'll see the reason I'm using a jar in a minute, because this is a reality cooking. You know, I don't have time to stir and do all that stuff, but I do have time to shake. So we'll do this. Shake, 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 shake. Look at that. This is going to be one of the prettiest sauces. They're going to thank you. Worked hours on this sauce. Can you see how they're doing? They're browning up. They're cooking nicely. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip one and just see if I got anything. Oh, look how pretty that is. Now, fell apart on me. Just pull it together. The heat will bring it back together on the others. It'll be okay. Don't let it upset you. This is reality cooking. This be delicious. I mean, everyone will be perfect, but I guarantee you, when you make one mistake like that, you say, you don't let it get you upset, and you flip. All right, let's test these others before we do the flip. Let's see how this one's going to look. Oh, that was perfect. This is reality cooking. Okay, we're ready to assemble the meal, or what I say is create the meal, create the love, create the reality of the situation. I'm going to use two beautiful plates because you know now, presentation is really reality cooking. Now, we've cooked the rice, so we're going to go over here and we're going to get our rice. Now we are building the plate. That's important, to build the plate. So I'm going to take the rice that we've cooked, and look, I'm going to put it right on the little flour. There we go. Now we're going to spread it around. It's very important because we're building the base. Just spread it around. All right. Now this rice is a little soggy, but that's the way I wanted it. Now, I'm cooking this particular meal tonight for my sweetheart, Frances. Frances loves salmon. She likes salmon in all varieties. So I'm hoping that this meal will help me score. Okay, there's the rice. Next thing we want to put on the rice, of course, are our salmon cakes. So let's put 2. Okay, 1, 2. And let's kind of tilt that second one up a little bit. Now, this is what makes this dish Spanish. Now you want to keep things in there. Here we go. Look at here. Little black beans. Right over it. Now, you know, I have been told that if you use beans and rice, you have a complete protein. So we have a beautiful fish protein, and now we have a lovely brown rice and black bean protein all together. All right. Now watch. Now watch what I do here. This is very important. You have to lay it in that pretty. You have to be sort of artistic about it. But in reality cooking, you can just drop it. You see that? Boom! Does that look good? Ha! It looks fabulous. Now, I told you before we went on break that there was one ingredient that we needed. And what was that? I didn't tell you. Well, I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's a little bit of sour cream. Now, remember those tomatoes we left over? Oh, look at here now. Watch this. Watch this. Look at this. Oh, now look at here. Oh, yes. Now we're cooking. Yes, we are cooking. And the last thing is that shake 'em up sauce. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You don't have to put much, but just enough to kind of dress the edges up. Do you realize what we've spent here? 1 can of salmon, half can of tomatoes. You add it up. We have created a $35 meal here for less than $5. Now I'm going to serve this with a roll and a salad and a glass of wine. And I am going to be a hero, I do believe. Try this, darling, with a little Chardonnay. And tell me what you think.
Oh, Wayne, this tastes great.
Ah, the rewards of reality cooking with Wayne. May you be so lucky.